Hey guys, this is Apple Gamer 24/7. I'm here to give you guys a video today on Android. As you guys know, I was using an Android phone for about a month before I got the iPhone 5, and I just wanted to come back on camera after a month after using an Android phone. Just kind of give you guys my overall final thoughts on Android and what I thought about using an Android phone for the past month, and just overall just what I think about it. So I just want to do that on camera. And in case you guys are wondering how I like the iPhone 5 so far, I really haven't been talking about it in too many videos lately, but I have been liking the experience. I really like the new screen, but I should have a review of that next week. So going on with the rest of this video, I have this sort of broken down into two parts. I have it down to things I like about Android and things I don't. So starting off with the things, the pros about Android, I guess. The first thing I do like is all the customization you can do to it. I thought it was really cool how you can customize how your entire phone looks and feels without having to root it or jailbreak it. There's tons of apps on the Google Play Store that allows you to do that just with a few taps of the screen. You can make your phone look like a Motorola phone if you have like a Samsung phone, or you can go vice versa. There's a ton of things you can do. You make your icons look bigger. You can change the way how folders look. It's just amazing how much customization you can do, how you can rearrange widgets and how you can make them bigger, smaller. I thought that was just kind of neat overall. I really like how all that looked and all the customization you can do. You can add different keyboards if the standard keyboard doesn't work for you. You can download a better keyboard that has a lot more better autocorrect or bigger keys, whatever fits your boat. There's a ton of customizations options for you. One thing I did like, because I had the Galaxy Nexus, which is a big phone in general, I was able to install an app that allows me, when I put my phone in landscape mode, not only did the app go in landscape mode, but the launcher went into landscape mode as well. So it really fit my need. If I was in bed, if I was reading a web page or anything, I could still flipping my home screen in landscape without having to turn my phone and the accelerometer to scrub. So I think either way, all the customization options you can do right down from the keyboard to the notifications, right to the lock screen and the actual device feels. It's actually really cool. It's one of the things I really do like about Android. So the customization thing is something that I do like a lot. Another thing I do like about Android is the adoption of new technologies. Even though they're not really big yet, but Android still has all those key features inside the OS that allows, if those technologies get really popular, those phones could get really big high sales because they're introducing some new technologies. And one of the big ones that I don't really think is that popular yet is NFC, that Android has been touting with Google Wall. You'll be able to, for those that don't know, you'll be able to take like a cell phone, say like this is an Android phone, and there's like a NFC cash register. I'll be able to tap my phone into that cash register, and it has all my credit card information on it. And I can basically pay for the item with my phone, which is something I've been waiting for. And so the iPhone does the same thing with Passbook, but it's pretty much not the same. Passbook is mainly for passes, but I do like how Android does allow you to have the ability to have NFC, but if you don't want it, you can always turn it off in settings, which I do like all the new technologies. And another new technology that wasn't really too big a couple years ago was LTE. Not pretty much all phones support LTE, but Android was probably one of the first phone manufacturers, or the phone operating system, that could really handle LTE at its full speed. I do like all the integration with Google services. I do like how I can type in my Gmail and it syncs all my contacts, my calendar, my Google Plus stuff if I have a Google Plus account. I really like that. The one thing I don't like about this particular feature in general is that if I don't want all my Google Plus pictures inside my camera roll, I'd like to have seen an option to move my pictures, but that really isn't a big deal. I like how if I wanted somebody's email, but it was on my iCloud, but not on my Gmail. Actually, I moved all my iCloud things into Gmail before I got my phone. So if I just start typing the person's name, it automatically come up. It wasn't in my address book or anything, which I thought was kind of nice. So I didn't have to go worry about typing anything in. Any new contacts added from the phone into the phone will automatically upload to the Gmail server, so they restore. I really like that. I think that's convenient. I think that's Google's own way of iCloud. It sort of looks the same. It works the same thing as iCloud. It does pretty much the same thing, but pretty much you have to use a Gmail account, which sucks. If you don't have a Google account, you can always make one using another email address, but some of the syncing features won't work. So I do recommend, if you have an Android phone, make sure you get like a Gmail email address so you can use that, or at least get a Google account that you can use, like Google Docs or something, which is kind of neat as well. The next thing I do like is part of the ice cream sandwich and jelly bean builds is the multitasking. I really like how you can tap a button and show you guys that cards layout of multitasking. I really like that. At first I didn't really use it too much because it wasn't something that I'm used to. I'm pretty much used to double clicking the home button on the iPhone and scrolling through the apps. But after like a week or two of use, I was really getting used to pushing that button, scrolling through the cards, and actually tapping on that app. In terms of what multitasking I like better, I like both to do the same thing. You do a good job at it, and I think if I had to pick which one I like overall, I really couldn't decide which one I pick. I like them a lot, so I really do like how multitasking works. I think I think that's been improved a little bit in Jelly Bean. I think it's much faster and more fluid, but I really do like the multitasking inside ice cream sandwich and Jelly Bean. And the final thing that I really like about Android, it was something just in my experience, is that I like to take a lot of pictures with my phone. I like to go on Instagram and use the camera app and take pictures around my house, or if I go somewhere I like to take pictures of something. I really like how in-depth you could get with the camera on an Android phone compared to an iPhone. I really like how you could change your white balance, your exposure, you could have effects overlaid on top of it. It was just something really cool that I always like to do. And if I were to do that on an iPhone, I would have to use another app such as Instagram or a few other camera apps, but with Android it's all built in. If I wanted to add some effects to the front facing camera, which is neat, I can make add effects. So it's just really cool, all the camera effects that I could choose that were just built into the camera app, and I didn't have to use any type of third-party apps. I really liked how that worked. So I'm really a big fan of the camera controls inside Android. I don't know if that's just a Galaxy Nexus type of thing. I don't know if it works on all Android phones, but there really is a lot of heavy-duty camera control that you can do inside Android that it's not really that found in iOS. iOS is getting better with it in terms of adding panorama and HDR and the grid, but Android just has a lot of little things like white balance and all the exposure that you can do much better than you can do on iOS. So yeah, that's all the things I do like. Now we'll talk about the things I don't like. Now some of these might be picky to just my experience. You guys might have a better some ideas. If you want to just leave some fixes, some things, just leave them down below in the comment section. These will help a lot of people out. These are some of the things that I found annoying when I was using my Android phone last week before I got the iPhone 5, like I've been saying. So let's get started. So one of the things I don't really like is that I really like on iOS is that if my battery is getting low, iOS kind of gives me some options inside the settings app to control my battery usage. That like if I wanted to set like a profile to when my battery, Android, how the battery works, it's kind of like this weird bar graph and line chart that it's kind of difficult for the average person. It might be easier if you have like a skin on it, like a HTC Sense or a Samsung skin on it. But for me, it wasn't really that hard. The one thing I did find is that in the settings widget there was a button for auto brightness, which kind of did save me some battery life, but not by much. I know a few people that I was talking to the other day said that you can download some apps that really save your battery life. That's not really what I'm looking for. I'm looking for something that's a native, that's built into the OS, that kind of decreases my battery usage and allows me to get through a full day. Actually, when I was having the Nexus for the last couple days before I got my iPhone 5, it actually would die in the middle of school, and that's kind of a bad thing for me because I tether my iPad to my phone or my phone to my iPad. You guys get what I mean. But I usually kind of tether it together so I can have internet wherever I am, depending if there's no Wi-Fi signal around. I always have a connection to the internet to look stuff up or to update my agenda book or my calendar so I can keep track of all my classes. But when I had the Android phone, my phone would die, and that kind of left me at a big disadvantage because I couldn't update my iCloud via the connection that I had on my Nexus to my iPad, so I can store these on my Mac and just get everything all synced up. But it was kind of difficult. So, and the only reason that I'm saying this because that's kind of a big thing that people do now is tether. But I really like a big thing that I could just control my battery usage a lot better than I can the way it is now. So going on with that. The next thing I do want to talk about is the selection of Google Play apps. Google Play Store is pretty cool. It has some great things on it. I found the app selection to be a little bit too limited. I really didn't think that any of the apps were that good. Most of the apps that I did find out were iOS ports had ads in them, which kind of took away from the experience. And to get rid of the ads, I think you had to pay like $1 or $2. So it's like the apps are a lot more expensive in my opinion than iOS. And besides, on iOS you're getting a lot more experience app, but I guess a better experience overall. But I really don't like the Google Play Store. I think the apps are kind of limiting. It has a lot of like themes and effects if you want to change your launcher around like I talked about earlier in this video. But if you're just looking for some apps to play or games, you really won't find that. iOS is more going to be that platform for gaming and other stuff. Going on to just phones in general, the screen sizes on phones vary. On Android phones, you got some that are like 4.6 inch, 4 inch, and then you got some with like 5-inch phones. Some of the apps that I noticed when, especially apps like Twitter, that I noticed when I was using the Android phone, just kind of just like don't literally take advantage of the screen size, or just like the smaller screen apps like for the 3.5-inch screen, just like sort of like supersized and stretched out. They really didn't look native. They kind of looked kind of rushed, like they didn't care about how the app looked on the device, which is kind of something I really want to know because I really like a good experience app. I want to know if the app works, and sometimes when I would click on the app, it would not load because it would load in the wrong screen size. So I had to quit the app and then reload it again, hoping it would load in the proper screen size. So that's something that I don't like. And the apps that do take advantage of the bigger screen size that work good, like on the first tap, they really do look kind of stretched out and scaled on, so they're not really too good. I like what Apple did with the iPhone 5 with the 3.5-inch apps, especially on the black one. What they did is that if you have a 3.5-inch app that fits the older iPhone, they just put it in the middle and just letterbox the top, which gave the app the same resolution and the same native feel. But if you have a black one, it kind of doesn't really matter because the black kind of blends in with the letterboxing. But if you have a white one, that is more noticeable. But anyway, I kind of wish Google took that approach and just made everything native and letterbox everything, because then everything would just run better and seem more fluid, in my opinion. The next thing is sort of like a big one for me. And when you put your Android phone, this might only be for the Nexus, I'm not really too sure. But if you put your phone on vibrate, what it would do is that it doesn't do it system wide like it does on iOS. If you put the switch down like on the side of your iPhone, it puts everything in vibrate, your texts, your calls, notifications, etc. But on Android, if you put your phone on vibrate, all that does is mute the music. If you have any text or phone calls, they will be silent. They don't vibrate, which kind of annoyed me because I would be in class or I would be out and about with my phone on vibrate, and I would miss a call or a text, and I didn't know why because my phone didn't vibrate. What you have to do in certain apps like Messages, and I believe also in the phone app, you have to go into the settings of that particular app and tell it that has permission to vibrate when it's on silent. To me, that is stupid. I think if you want to put your phone on vibrate, it should do it system wide. You shouldn't have to tell any setting, any application settings to put your phone on vibrate. I think that's something that just irked me when I found that out. I think I ran on a big rant on Twitter when I found that out. But after I found that out, I was receiving texts and calls when my phone was on vibrate, which I should have done from the beginning, which I think is kind of stupid. Let's see. The updates are inconsistent. OS updates are inconsistent. As you guys know, there's Ice Cream Sandwich and now there's Jelly Bean. Most of the phones out there don't even run the latest version of Ice Cream Sandwich, so they're kind of the updates are inconsistent in my opinion, which is kind of a bummer because for me, I'm always used to when a new update comes out, there's always a push notification or there's always a big thing on Twitter telling me there's just an update and I need to go download it. So that's kind of something I missed on Android, just having the latest builds. The one thing I did notice is that if you have a Nexus device on Verizon or Sprint or any type of Nexus device that's locked down into a carrier, it's not really considered a Nexus device in my opinion, because a Nexus device it should be locked free from the carriers. It should be a plain Google experience. There should be no carrier bloatware or anything like that on the phone. It should be just pure stock Google, the way Google wants it to be done. Soon as you lock that phone down to a carrier, in my opinion, it starts to be a lockdown phone, which means that when Jelly Bean started to get rolled out to the Galaxy Nexus, the Verizon models didn't get it. Still haven't got it yet, but the Sprint models got beforehand. But if you have a GSM, like a SIM card one that you can use on AT&T or T-Mobile, those are pure Android phones, and those are the ones I really want. But if you have to lock the same phone down to a carrier, it really doesn't feel the same way in my opinion. So that's kind of the way I look at it. The updates are inconsistent, and if you have a phone that's locked down to a carrier, you're going to be waiting for a while for the latest update. So overall, guys, what do I have to say about Android? I really did like it. I thought it was a great. It was a good breath of fresh air for me, because when I went back to the iPhone, I felt like everything was brand new again. It really made having the iPhone 5 really like a brand new phone. But if I had to choose between, if I had to do this again, I would, because it was just a nice fresh air experience. I was able to try different apps, different UIs, different launchers. It was just really cool to have. And I would probably do it again. If I ever do it again, I'll probably get something like similar to an iPod Touch, if they have something like that I can just hook it up to Wi-Fi and just play around with it, because I really needed to have a cellular connection, because as far as I know right now, I'm not planning to upgrade to the next iPhone, because if if everything stays true to what it is now, the iPhone 5S should look exactly like this but have just a few new features. So if things are the same like that, I'm not planning to upgrade. I'll say my upgrade to the iPhone 6 and have all those features. But for right now, guys, as far as my things on Android, I think it was great. I thought it was fun to use. I would do it again if I had to. But as far as right now, I'm gonna stay on the iPhone because the ecosystem and everything just works for me. I use basically everything Apple, so everything just kind of syncs up and works nicely with this device. And I ran into some issues like that, like my pictures want to go into other things. But anyway guys, I'm gonna let you guys go here because I'm starting to ramble now and I really don't feel like talking anymore. So anyway guys, I'll see you guys in the next video.